We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
You are listening to The Underground Marketing Conspiracy, a secret ritual where entrepreneurs acquire highly classified and confidential business knowledge that the top 1% of income earners don't want you to know. And now, your host, Maddie Milligan.
What is going on, my fellow conspirator and conspirators? Welcome to the Underground Marketing Conspiracy. Ooh. A couple years back, my homegirl, Rachel Peterson, talked about the relationship funnel at Funnel Hacking Live. It's probably one of the most overlooked things in business is actually building those relationships with people, building that trust. So many people out there are just trying to swindle other people and other businesses out of their hard-earned dollars. And that's not what you want to do. You really want to earn people's trust, first of all, before you move forward. So keep that in mind. That's really what I would recommend doing, building trust with people. I don't know what it is, but people always tell me the most intimate stuff as well. They tell me stuff that they're like, I never tell this to anyone, but you seem like a good guy, and I'm just going to lay it out on the table right now. And I'm like, oh boy. And man, the last 2 days, man, there's been some stories of people. Insolvency has been one in a few cases. Bankruptcy. Lots of people passing away in others' lives. Lots of sickness, whether it's physical sickness, mental sickness, spiritual illness. All sorts of stuff that people have told me the last few days. And in a couple cases, I've just taken some impromptu calls because it's been some people where I'm like, oh, I can see that this person is working hard like I am, right? They're trying to make something of themselves. They're trying to help other people, right? They don't just care about money. They're not selfish. They actually want to help other people. And that's been my whole goal, honestly. Gary Vee talks a lot about this too. This quote of his that really hit home the other day. I've heard it before, but it just made so much sense. And he's been someone I followed for a while. I've read all of his books, every single one. It started with Crush It. That's when I realized, I'm like, okay, it's actually possible for me to start a business. And I've even shared his entire social media strategy. And even if you were to read that book, it's written 10 years ago, you could still utilize all the stuff that he talks about. Go back, and I have an episode, I don't know when it is, maybe between episode 15 and 50 somewhere, where I talk about that, all the stuff where he shares his whole how to build a business on online steps, right? And he had this quote though that just hit so hard with me. It's hit home so hard with me, which was, don't worry about how much money you have in the bank. Worry about how many people are going to show up at your funeral. And this dude I was talking with today, and he might be listening to this, he might be not, it's fine, but told me about how he works with all these like millionaires, right? And he went to a few of their funerals, because he used to be his bodyguard, and he would go to their funerals. And he would end up going, and he's like, dude, there would be no one there. You'd go to these things, and these people, they would make all this money, and they would just hoard it to themselves, right? They would become like these kind of Scrooges to a certain extent, right? Scrooge McDuck. I love that movie that had Scrooge McDuck. But they became these very selfish people where they were hoarding all their riches for themselves, and they weren't giving back whatsoever. And there's so many people out there, right? And there's a lot of people as well who are just trying to swindle you out of your money, trying to cheat you, trying to steal from you. And trust me, I've been taken advantage of many times, right? I'm a very generous person. I've been coming up with the Overdogs Creed the last few days, and man, there was one part in there where I'm like, wow, this is some really deep stuff. And I'm not going to reveal it on this episode. Again, that group I'm creating, if you want to join, you can go to overdogs.group. It's not ready as I'm recording this yet, so it's going to go to a blank domain. But if you're listening to this beyond, I would say probably first week of February, I would say it's going to be ready then. I have so much stuff coming up next week, so it's not going to be ready then, but it's something I am really working on at this point. And part of the creed, I talk about giving and sharing and caring, and having empathy is something that's, I think so many people overlook that one thing. When you're looking into building trust with people and building those long-term relationships, you have to give your time, you have to give your energy, you have to give your attention to them. And then if you give those things, then very likely the person will reciprocate and give you money. All right, that's a big thing I've seen in sales. But I've just seen so many people out there where, I remember there was this one time, in my old job, there was this one woman that called in, and she was like, "Hey, how do I get this thing?" And I'm like, "Oh, she's like, can I talk with this one person?" And I told her, I'm not sure what you're speaking about. Are you talking about this person? She's like, "Yes." Do you not know who that is? And I'm like, "All right, yeah, I know who that is. Let me message them." So I messaged them, and I'm like, "Hey, they're talking about getting this thing. Do you know what they're talking about?" And they're like, no. And then she's like, "Well, just..." And then I told her, he doesn't really know about what you're talking about. And he gave me all the resources he shares. I shares those with her. And she's like, "This isn't what I'm talking about. Let me speak with someone else. Let me speak with your manager, another where." And I'm like, and at that job, we couldn't transfer the calls to anyone else. And that was fine. No worries about that. But it was just something where, and then she's like, "Well, if I can't get this stuff, then I can't make money." And I'm like, "Oh boy. All right." And I'm like, "Okay. Yeah, I totally understand that. You want to make money and help people." And that's what I said. I'm like, "You want to make money and help people." She's like, "No, I don't give a crap about helping people. I just want to make money for myself." And then, I shouldn't have done this. But I was like, well, if you don't care about other people, then you're never going to make money. And she just shut up. It was done. And then sure enough, I got a warning afterwards from, I don't remember. I think it was I don't know if it was I think my direct boss was off at that point. That person had been off for several months, and it was one of the worst organized things ever, where they kept having these temporary people, and I didn't really have a boss for 3 or 4 months. Worst organization ever of that whole situation. Awesome company, just no leadership was taken. And even when I would try and step up, there were other people being like, "What is this?" It was like a zoo for a little while. So I don't remember who quite it was, but I had to sit down with someone. They're like, "Okay, so you can't say these things to people." And I'm like, "Oh, but she needed to hear that." And they're like, "No, but she's a customer." And I'm like, "So just because she gives us money, she can treat me like crap, and she can want to take advantage of other people?" Capitalism is founded off my value in exchange for other people's hard-earned dollars. That's what capitalism is, right? And capital is a beautiful thing, not perfect whatsoever, but I think it's the best economic structure that we have, right? I think communism and socialism, they're good in theory. Helping out your fellow man is good in theory, but I think if you read books like Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand, your whole philosophy would change. Because I grew up very liberal, thought socialism was awesome, and then I read The Fountainhead, and I was like, whoa, okay. And then I read Atlas Shrugged, and it was ridiculous. There's a couple situations that are happening in Canada right now that Ayn Rand could have written them. This whole pipeline situation that's happening in Alberta for all the people who out there who've lost their jobs and got laid off, and they're not building these pipelines and whatever. I don't want to talk about that. It frustrates me, and it actually upsets me about how the government stands in your way. The free market is what you need to do, right? If I have something valuable, right, and you want that, you need to pay me the money that I ask. And if you don't have that money, maybe we can barter and we can come to an agreement of some sort. But when the government steps in and they get in the way all the time, it's like, dude, just get out of the way. Stop getting in the way of some kinds, right? But again, it goes back to the relationship, right? It's I have value. You have value. We can exchange those, and then we can work together, right? But when people look at it how can I extract as much money out of other people as possible, and they don't care about that other person's long-term success, then I don't know. I can't relate to those people, to be honest. And I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've had a few clients where I've worked my butt off. I've tried to get them results. And in some case, one person was just not very committed, I feel. And I couldn't help that person. And I kept trying and changing it. And they wanted me to do things their way. And I'm like, nah, we should do it this way. And they wanted to do it their way. So they twisted my arm and we did it their way and it didn't work. And then I'm like, okay, why don't we try my way? They're like, let's try another way, my way. And I'm like, but like I've already said, it's not going to work. And we tried your other way, and now we're trying another one. Let's try this other one. And then they ended up getting upset at me, and it was somehow my fault. But I'm like, dude, I told you we should have done this, right? And I feel bad because now I'm just so direct with people, to be honest. Now if someone tries to pull that stuff, I'm like, bro, no. Like, we're not doing that. And people have noticed that, right? I know the only way I can help people is to be more direct with them and really just tell them what's not going to work. And when they want to do something, there's this thing in Mad Men where he talks about, he's like, oh man, like clients have all these ideas, and you know, and it's like, hey, that's why they come to us though. We're the ones with the ideas, right? That's why they go to creative agencies so they can help them come up with those ideas. At the same time though, like I said, they pay you money. You have to come up with those ideas. You need to deliver, right? I don't think you should be selling stuff where you can't deliver on the outcome, to be honest. That's one big thing that people really overlook a lot of the time. It's like, if you sell something to someone, you need to deliver on your promise and not burn that person, right? You need to start building that relationship and trust with them. Even if you have to work for free with a few people to gain their trust, like I have in the past, then so be it, right? That's really what I recommend, right? That's the relationship funnel to me. And I'm sure I'll talk about this more in the funnel, but that's really how you're going to gain people's trust. That's how you're going to get those awesome reviews and testimonials. You're going to get that confidence too once you actually help a few people. And then that's how you build a long-term, awesome, amazing, glorious, sustainable business of destiny. Hope you enjoyed today's episode of The Underground Marketing Conspiracy. If you did, I want you to consider subscribing, consider leaving a review, considering listening to some additional episodes, maybe even sharing this with a friend who has a business. I'm sure they would greatly appreciate that. My name is Matty Milligan. Should you wish to find out more about me, you can visit mattymilligan.com. And I will see you guys next time on another episode of The Underground Marketing Conspiracy. Woo!